Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and my guest today is a lady named Deborah Basile, and she is from the Lutheran Foster Grandparents Program. You said there's something else that you do too?
Yes, I'm also director of Chautauqua County Retired and Senior Volunteer Program.
Oh, okay.
They're both senior corps programs.
Oh, okay. And that other one, that's not a grandparent program,
No,
right?
no, they're similar but different.
Mm-hmm. How did you get interested in doing this kind of work?
Well, matter of fact, today is my 45th anniversary of working at Lutheran. Mm-hmm. And I've always, by choice, have chosen seniors, or as they prefer to be called, mature adults. Mm-hmm. I've done everything from nursing assistants, computers, billing, ward clerking. I've had 8 different jobs during my tenure at Lutheran, and I am drawn to the seniors. Mm-hmm. I'm drawn by their wisdom, I'm drawn by their experience, and you learn a lot from them.
Oh, you certainly do.
Yes. Yes.
I know. I've spent a lot of time with
Yes.
people that are a lot older than me. I can see why you prefer to call them
mature
adults.
Yes, we did a little unofficial survey, and they don't like to be called seniors. They like mature adults. So we try to capture that and use it whenever possible.
Yeah, you know, I always did think it seemed kind of derogatory to refer to people as older,
Yes.
older people or something like that.
Yes.
It almost seems sort of disrespectful. But anyways, I guess I really found out about you when my husband ran across an article in the newspaper, although you said it was printed incorrectly. It's this one that starts out, Mayville, Chautauqua County Social Services is in search of foster grandparents.
Okay.
And my husband suggested, he goes, you're highly qualified for this. You should look into it. He's going. But anyways, then when I called you to find out about it, you informed me that it wasn't the social services department, but it was actually Lutheran.
Yes.
So is this affiliated with the Lutheran Church?
No.
No?
Lutheran in Jamestown, which is part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, is a part of, is an agency of the church, and it is our local sponsor. The Senior Corps programs are a federal program guided under the Corporation for National and Community Service, and a requirement of the programs is to have local community ownership. Lutheran has graciously been our sponsor for RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. But we say RSVP, an invitation to serve, because we've learned no one likes to be called retired, they don't like to be called senior, and they don't want to be called a volunteer, and they don't want to belong to a program. So we say RSVP. In 1973, the Office for the Aging wrote the grant for the RSVP program. Lutheran graciously took over that sponsorship in 1975. Then in 1983, Lutheran took over the sponsorship for the foster grandparent program. And they have been our gracious sponsor since that time, which is wonderful because it is a demand and a complicated venture.
Yeah, I can see that. Before we came on the air, I was talking with Deborah about the forms, how it felt, how it feels like filling out your income tax return.
Yes.
You know.
Well, it's only the foster grandparent application that is more detailed. And that reason being is because if you are income eligible, there is a stipend involved. And they do target low to moderate income seniors. So that's why those forms are more complicated. But both programs are geared towards individuals 55 years of age and older. And they address the community needs of the service, of the community or the county. Chautauqua County RSVP serves Chautauqua County. Lutheran Foster Grandparent Program serves the Tri-County area of Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties. However, their main focus is education. They are placed in schools, Head Start programs, and pre-elementary programs to work one-on-one with children in need.
Okay.
It's based on creating a one-to-one relationship to benefit the children who may be struggling, and they are directed by the teachers who are the experts in their fields to pick out 3 individuals who would benefit from a foster grandparent. They follow a detailed assignment plan job description created by the teacher, and it has been very successful.
Oh, good.
I think last year for our progress report, there was only 2 children who did not make strides or show any progress.
Of it.
Yes, yes.
And that was 2 out of how many approximately?
We had 55, and each are 3 students, so that's 165.
165 students.
Yes.
Okay.
So
it's mainly special needs students. Then
we neglect to say special needs because they're not always identified as special needs. What we prefer to call those are children with exceptional needs. The needs might be organizational. They may need one-to-one attention to read better. They could be need help with reading aloud, or even emotional needs. The ability to sit and eat their lunch, or even nurturing them to comfort them when they are separated from their parents. So it's very, the needs are very vast, and hopefully we're addressing them.
It sounds like something that I wish they had had when I was a kid going to school.
Yes, very much so.
Like in the 1950s and
Right.
60s, you know. So,
but this classroom has evolved.
That's good. That's really, really good.
And what's nice about the program is many of these children do not have grandparents within the vicinity because of the mobile families.
Right. People don't necessarily continue to live near their families anymore. People move to other parts of the country and so forth.
It is not traditional. Like when I grew up, Grandma and Grandpa were up the hill and around the corner.
I know that.
And
that's exactly how it was. I
right.
remember that.
And Aunt and Uncle were either 2 blocks over and down, or they were all within walking distance. And that's not all the case. That's not the case anymore.
Right, it isn't.
But then on the other side of the coin, the foster grandparents many times do not have their grandchildren available to them to enjoy the youth.
So they get to spend time with people that would be their grandchildren.
That's right. So it fills that void. We hear that time and time again. I need kids in my life.
Right, right.
And I think this is a fine example of the intergenerational approach to learning.
Oh, yes, yes it
Yes.
is. Yes, it is. Now, how does a person go about joining up with you?
Okay. What they do is call our office. Lutheran foster grandparent number is 716-665-5354. And what we are practicing now is we talk to the individual, we assure their eligibility, we make sure that they are 55 and older, and they can commit to 15 hours a week, which is the minimum time they are required to serve.
Okay, they're allowed to serve up to 40 hours
Yes,
a
they
week
are. Yes.
then. Yes.
Yes. And from that point, what we do is we send them a pre-application packet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pre-enrollment form and also an income form.
Mm-hmm.
And then we give them both the federal brochure, which tells about it nationwide, and also the local brochure.
This would be the local, and
That's the
this
local, and that's the federal.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, there's also a form that they send you that you have to sign and date, and that is to give permission to have a background check
Yes.
done on you. So explain this to our viewing audience.
Okay. Our program deals with what individuals that are considered the vulnerable population. By definition, that is from birth to the age of 17 or individuals age 60 and older.
Mm-hmm.
Our program requires that everybody is screened and cleared through a New York State unified court system, and also they go through FBI fingerprinting,
Mm-hmm.
and they are cleared from the National Sex Offender Registry.
Mm-hmm.
So that when we place them at schools or Head Starts or daycare centers, we are placing them knowing that they have been cleared.
Okay. Okay.
So we are protecting our children.
Yeah, I've heard that about if you get a job working in a store or something, they do a background check on people to make sure they haven't been ever prosecuted for shoplifting or anything.
Yes.
I've
It's a
heard.
common practice now. Yes,
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now there are different things that you go through before you start doing this kind of work. So the things listed on the back of here,
Okay.
would you want to talk about
I definitely
those?
would. What we do is, along with all those other requirements, we do require a physical assessment stating that you are fit to serve.
Mm-hmm.
That just assures that your ability to go into the schools and work one-on-one with the children.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, you are provided with 20 hours pre-service training.
Mm-hmm.
That involves all the processes of getting enrolled, along with some orientation prior to your placement.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as part of the program, we conduct monthly in-services. We do them in 3 locations. We have a Jamestown location, Dunkirk, and Olean.
Mm-hmm.
So once a month, we have in-service training.
What day of the week is that? Is it a certain week of the month?
Usually, each location has a different time.
Oh, do they?
Yes, and it's dependent on what's convenient for the foster grandparents.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like Olean, they like Thursday afternoons,
Mm-hmm.
so we do Thursday afternoons. Maybe Jamestown wants to do Thursday afternoons or Wednesday afternoons or mornings. We try to incorporate whatever fits best in their schedules and doesn't interrupt their service. And they are topics on either senior-related topics, personal, anything personal betterment, or the most important is we try to provide them with education and tools to help them with their placements, whether it be working with children, working with toddlers. I just did one on redirecting behaviors. We've even done things with the national opioid crisis. Foster grandparents have been trained in proper Narcan. And I was surprised how many did request the kits because they have the exposure to grandchildren. They have exposure to people in general within their communities. And the community we serve is rural, as we know, and so it was a good tool for them to have.
Okay.
And we have more here,
yes,
too.
Yes, you do.
Yes. And we do provide travel assistance. For those who drive, we have a reimbursement rate so we can assist them to get to and from their volunteer sites. And many of our volunteers do not have any vehicles of their own. So there is a lot of juggling schedules and negotiating. We've used taxis, we've used agency vans, we use carts where they've been very friendly and helpful in getting our foster grandparents where they need to be. And another bonus is they get lunch, breakfast, and sometimes a snack while they are serving. And this is not only beneficial to the foster grandparents, but along with our federal funds, we are required to have a match of funds. 10% of our federal grant must be met by the community or our sponsor. We have kindly, the schools have all agreed to provide the meals in kind for all the foster grandparents. So that value can be calculated towards our federal match, which has been very helpful. We do provide all our volunteers with supplemental insurance. This is above and beyond what they have their own. It is always the last payer, so it is to prevent any out-of-pocket expenditures for the volunteers while serving.
Oh, wow.
Our volunteer sites are very, very happy that we have that on all our volunteers because it relieves them quite a bit. And you can make up to $2,000 a year as a stipend. You are paid by the hour. A stipend is only $2.65 an hour, but that is to help you to continue your service. And we do have special events. We have an awards dinner once a year to recognize all our volunteers publicly. And we just had a picnic where we got all 3 counties together and had a wonderful picnic, along with, we had to do some work as far as getting ready for the school season, so we try to, it's an informal kickoff to the school year. And we have other things and other educational opportunities as they arise. And we do work with other agencies who provide educational opportunities. There are workshops offered by many agencies through county agencies or whomever, and we encourage our volunteers to continue their education to better prepare them to serve.
And then that was everything on that list then?
Yes, yes.
Now, before we started recording today's program, I was noticing with their brochures, all show pictures of people wearing red T-shirts.
Yes.
And I said, do do the volunteers, the foster grandparents and like that, have to wear the red T-shirts?
No, it's not a requirement by any means. Although, because we are a federal program and we're always subject to budgetary, I hate to say elimination or whatever, we try to be forefront out in the community. As you see here, we are part of the Senior Corps. And there's 3 branches of the Senior Corps.
Okay.
Red is for the foster grandparent program. Blue is for the RSVP, or Retired Senior Volunteer Program. And green is for the Senior Companion Program. We are lucky to have the 2 within our region. We did apply for the Senior Companion Program, but it was granted elsewhere. But that is a wonderful program as well, because that pairs individuals with clients who need extra help at home, so they can continue living independently.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the 3rd arm of Senior Corps, which is very beneficial.
Yeah, there's an agency that I've heard mentioned on National Public Radio from time to time. Apparently it's in the Buffalo area or something like that. And they call the workers visiting angels.
Oh, yes, yes.
You've heard of it?
Yes. And that, I don't know if it is equivalent to Senior Companion Program, but Senior Companions, they work in adult daycare settings. They're paired with individuals who need sometimes travel assistance to get to their doctor's appointments, whatever it takes, grocery shopping, taking care of their finances, helping them to remain at home. As we all try to do.
Yes, we
for
all,
as long as we can.
We all try to do that,
yes,
don't we?
That is ideal.
And sometimes it's very hard for the person's family.
Yes, because of the family is not always in the vicinity. And we are very fortunate to have quite a few of our RSVP volunteers who serve in that capacity. It's called Aging in Place placements or access to care. They work with the Blind Association. They work with healthcare agencies to provide senior companionship and assistance to people who are aging in their homes or in assisted living. And access to care, many of them will travel and take clients or assign people to their appointments or do whatever they can.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Wow, it says here that nearly 30,000, I'm assuming this is
that
countrywide.
is on the federal level, yes.
30,000 volunteers help more than 280,000 children through our nationwide network of organizations. Now, there's something about teaching job skills to economically disadvantaged youth?
Yes. That is the focus of a lot of our projects. However, locally, we have not gotten into that. Our main focus through RSVP is Healthy Futures. Food distribution through soup kitchens, the 3-area soup kitchens, the food pantries. That is our main focus. But access to care and aging in place is creeping right up. As the population within our county is aging, so are the demands for those services. So that is our main area of focus for our local projects. We have not gotten into helping with jobs, although if you volunteer, you're 27% more likely to secure a job. So I think we're helping in that way.
Oh wow, okay. It says something about improving behavioral and education outcomes including daycare centers, grade school, and college readiness for students with special and/or exceptional needs. Now, a big part of it is helping them with their schoolwork.
Yes. We focus, this has been, our find is our project goes from birth to 4th grade. That's where all our placements are. And that is done intentionally because if you are not socially ready or proficient in reading by the 4th grade, the chances of you being academically successful diminishes.
Oh.
And right now, the majority of our foster grandparents serve in Jamestown public schools, where the dropout rate is around 25%.
Really? That much? That's a lot.
Yes, yes. Well, we are impoverished. You know, I hate to say Chautauqua County is impoverished, and along with impoverishment and non-traditional families many times come, you know, the educational process does not follow its normal process. Children with poverty score lower in tests. I mean, I've done all the research because that's when we write the grants, that's how we write the grants. Children in tracts of poverty do not perform well. And we can see that in Chautauqua County.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. But I think this is the essence of our program, is a foster grandparent is the constant adult in a child's life. They go to school, they know grandma and grandpa are going to be there, and they give them attention unconditionally. They are a pair of listening ears. They always have the time to listen to them, their stories, and they always have a caring heart. And I think that is so much of their emotional support and helps them in their academics as well. Someone who cares in the classroom. And of course the teachers and everybody else does as well, but the more, I think the volunteers come with a lifetime of experience and the wisdom and patience to deal with these children with exceptional needs.
Yeah, now, is bullying addressed through this program?
That would be addressed through the schools.
Through the schools?
Yes, yes. Foster grandparents do not discipline. They're never left alone with a child. They are completely under the direction of the site supervisor or the teacher. They are just there to augment the existing classroom.
I just wondered, you know, because I don't know how it is now, but, you know, there's always tended to be some kids bullying other kids.
Yes,
you know.
and we educate our foster grandparents at the in-services about that. And I have not heard of any cases, but our focus is from preschool to 4th grade. I would like to think that that occurs in the higher grades, but I cannot say.
No, at least when I was a kid, it went on in the lower
I'm sure
grades
it did.
too.
I'm sure it does. But it has not come to the forefront for us. It has not been identified as a problem yet. And if and when it does, we certainly will prepare our foster grandparents to deal with it.
Yeah, because you know when you're growing up, before you go to school, nobody really tells you that some people are going to pick on you. They're going to make fun of you or something, and how you should not pay attention to it and so forth. You know, because I think that it affects the self-esteem of children. You know, because they don't know any better but to believe what people are saying about them, even though it's usually not true.
That's right.
You know,
and not all children get proper reinforcement of their worth and self-esteem. You know, and I think I dare say that foster grandparents do build their self-esteem. You know, just the idea that they're there for them is boosting their self-esteem.
Oh, sure. Tutoring and mentoring in local schools and community-based programs. Now, is it meant mainly with academic things that...
Yes, but it could be other things as well. You know, organizational skills, interacting with children skills, whatever the teacher identifies. They're in charge. They are the experts, and it always has worked out very well. We place foster grandparents and RSVP volunteers in nonprofit, governmental, or educational agencies only. That is our parameters.
It also mentions supporting children of veterans and deployed military people, too.
Yes, and we try to do that. Although we don't have agencies that are specific, like veterans of children, as we serve all children, I'm sure that there are children of veterans or active military that we help. But because of the privacy, and we can't always get that information. And so that is difficult for us, because we don't serve basically like a school for active military or wherever.
Oh, right.
Right, because everybody
well,
is
we
blended
don't really
in.
have anything
Like
that that's separated out from
right. So it's hard for
everybody else.
so it is hard for us to identify those people. But we are trying, especially with the food pantries and the soup kitchens, when we do our surveys and calculate our data for reporting, we are starting to add that. And those who are willing to share, we do report on those activities.
Okay. It's kind of interesting that you're mentioning the food pantries and like that, because on my last episode, I interviewed 3 ladies who were from the Mayville Outreach Center.
Oh, yes, yes.
So, so they talked about over there they have the food pantry for one thing, and they have a thrift store.
Yes, they do.
That serves other needs, and then they also have a vegetable garden out in back of the
that
building.
is a wonderful place, and they have been consistently generous with their time and kindness of helping for those less fortunate. It is a wonderful program.
They really have.
They've gone above and beyond with the garden and everything else.
Yeah, the one lady, her name is Ann Smith, with the garden, her and her daughter do the gardening, and it just happens that the building that the Outreach Center is in, where the garden is out in back of, used to be a doctor's office, and her, the lady that does the gardening with her daughter was the daughter of the doctor who's
oh, how interesting.
doctor's
I have not heard
it
that.
was years ago, like in the 1940s and 50s, and like that.
And it's those little grassroots efforts that are kind of planted all over the county. I could almost write a story about each and every site, because each and every site has their own history, why they do it, who they help. And it is really interesting because what we do is really a ministry. We assign people to needy causes. They, in their own abilities, as I said, I keep repeating this, is they use their lifetime of experience and the wisdom to address these needs. And sometimes they're very creative needs. Like, if you think about it, okay, there's a food pantry there. Doesn't it make sense to put a garden there?
Right, exactly.
Right. I mean, here these gardeners have all this wonderful experience they're wishing to share, and they're feeding those in need. I mean, it's very creative.
Yeah, you can't really get a really good diet out of eating just non-perishables.
That's right.
You need to have fresh produce in your diet too.
And that's another thing, is they are eating local.
They are.
They're eating local. They are eating fresh produce, because so often we have so many food deserts throughout the county, you know, where there is little access to fresh foods and vegetables. So that is always a wonderful link. So,
and teaching people how to grow a vegetable garden is kind of a worthy thing to do if you know how to do it, and you have people willing to learn, you know, as a way to help themselves.
And that's something too, is RSVP is kind of partnered with the master gardeners.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
so that, you know, they can use their talents and expertise. And another fine example was at our foster grandparent in the service. We usually meet at a church in Jamestown. Well, we changed our schedule because they have a mobile market there. So we met there. The foster grandparents were able to take advantage of the mobile market, you know, get fresh fruits and vegetables. And even those who don't have cars were able to take the bus because it was on a school day.
Oh.
And we provide them bus transportation, and they were able to come and get fresh fruit and vegetables. And it just happened that day that they were doing a salad demonstration, so they got a free salad too.
Oh, wow.
And that's just an example. So then after they had the fresh fruit and vegetables, we partnered with Meals on Wheels. So then Meals on Wheels gave them a wonderful, wonderful lunch. So I think that is what is very unique in Chautauqua County. All the nonprofits work together because there are limited funding. So as a matter of survival, we all have to work and play together nicely. So
yeah, speaking of Meals on Wheels, my husband is basically retired, but he still works for the Resource Center 2 days a week, part-time. And one of the things he does sometimes is take some of the program participants out, and they deliver
that's
Meals
wonderful.
on Wheels. So
that is a wonderful program.
yeah.
You know, the seniors, because of accessibility problems, they are guaranteed through Meals on Wheels to get a nutritionally balanced meal. And those wonderful people that go and deliver it every day assure that they have access to nutritionally balanced meals, and also check on them daily too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our volunteers are Meals on Wheels volunteers as well, in the Jamestown area and also Dunkirk, Fredonia.
Yeah, it is good when people are at that point in their life where they're having a lot of trouble taking care of themselves and everything. If somebody does look in on them,
that's right.
You
that
know, to
is
make
very
sure that
important.
make sure that nothing has happened to them.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
since
And
the day before.
That's right. And if you know, those volunteers are instructed, if they do not answer, they have a proper protocol that they go through. And I believe through my years, I've heard of some very, there's been some horrific and wonderful saving and safety issues that they've helped, you know, with these clients.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yes. That is a very popular placement too, is Meals on Wheels. And that's all in access to care and aging in place. A lot of times too, if somebody comes out of the hospital, they might not be physically able to prepare a nutritious meal.
Right.
So they might have the meals for a
Right.
couple weeks until they get back on their feet. And all this avoids extended hospital stays, premature admission to healthcare facilities, and basically, you know, those kind of issues are a big brunt on the taxpayers. So if we can help with that, we do so.
Oh yeah, yes. Now, are some of the children that the foster grandparents help with, are some of them physically disabled?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Sometimes. That is definitely under the direction of the teacher. And if the they have to agree to serve with the children. They have the detailed assignment plan, job description, and they agree to be assigned to that child. So sometimes it may be. Mm-hmm. But usually in the school system, if there's somebody with special needs like that, there's usually an aid involved as well.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or they might even have a different class that they are in from the children that aren't physically disabled.
Yes. But
it says that foster grandparents began in 1965.
Yes, it was all part of the Older Americans Act. And we celebrated our 50th anniversary back in 2015.
Wow.
We had quite a celebration. It was very nice.
Yeah, 800 volunteers in more than 45 institutions.
Right.
And now it's up to 30,000
I know.
around the country.
I know it. It is quite, it's a win-win situation. Mm-hmm. The volunteers always tell me they get more out of their service than what they give. Mm-hmm. And there's been a vast amount of research on the health benefits of volunteering.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
Your life expectancy is extended. Mm-hmm. Less social isolation. Mm-hmm. Less reports of depression, and in the senior or mature adult population, usually 20% are affected by depression as part of the aging process.
20%, did you say?
Yes, 20%. And I think there's like 5% never even seek any assistance. So this social engagement, the purposeful activity, and they're physically moving, walking up and down the halls, going to the food pantries, delivering meals on wheels. It's keeping their mind and bodies engaged.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all part of, preventing loss of abilities.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, and I've heard this a lot over the course of my lifetime, when people retire. I hear a lot of them. I've overheard conversations like in the grocery store and stuff about after they retire, I've been so busy, I wonder how I ever had time to work.
Yes. And those are people probably who volunteer.
I suppose.
Yes. I think many times they pick a passion, whatever it may be. And from their work life, it takes them a while. After they retire, there's a little period of time. They get their house in order. They put our photo albums together. Then they get bored. And then they're ready to volunteer. And whatever has clicked their interest or passion, they usually get in with both feet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have lots of volunteers who do ushering.
In churches?
No, ushering like at the Reg Lene,
the
Northwest Savings Bank Arena, Little Theater. So there's a wonderful social aspect as well. So it's a really good program.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it. You could just about do any kind of work you wanted to when you get into this. Now, are people allowed to, when they become a volunteer, are they allowed to teach children other skills that they have that maybe aren't being taught in schools?
Not for the foster grandparent program. That would be, they stay with the school program. But then on the other side, with retired senior volunteer program, we are always looking for people to extend their knowledge, share their knowledge to groups or individuals or whatever, because speakers are always in great demand to all these groups all over our county. So.
Yeah, at some point in time, I taught myself from books how to do macrame, you know, that's with the hemp twine, and you tie all of these different kinds of knots to make things. And so I wound up getting to teach that at the Chautauqua Institution a couple of summers.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, so so that was pretty interesting. You know, it turned out to be more work than I thought it was going to be. I was kind of surprised. I figured, well, if I can learn how to do it from a book, everybody else should be able to pick it up really quickly if they have a teacher right there showing them.
There's a lot of visual learners.
And I was amazed at how much one-on-one help everybody needed.
Yes.
You know, it was incredible. You know, you think it's something that you just learned from a book.
Yes. No, I would never be able to learn from a book. I'm a visual learner.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, I would have to watch somebody go through it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's wonderful. You're sharing your expertise with others, and isn't that what we're all about?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. There was one thing I was not able to learn from a book, but that I was able to learn from DVDs, and that is something I had wanted to learn how to do when I was a little girl, you know, back in elementary school, was Middle Eastern dance.
Wow.
Or what's more commonly known as belly dance. I guess I was intrigued by the beautiful costumes they got to wear and everything.
Right.
And now that was something I was not able to learn from a book, even though I had a book that was supposed to teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
It was not until I got a couple of DVDs.
I would think so. You have to see the actual movements.
That, you know, I actually was finally able to learn how to play the, well, you know, well, it was DVDs that I learned the moves from, but it was playing the finger cymbals, the Middle Eastern rhythms on the finger cymbals. Well, even that's not real hard once you have somebody you can watch explaining how to do it. The real challenge is being able to play the finger cymbals while you are dancing.
I don't think I would be able to do that. There's too much concentration, but I admire anybody who can.
You know, so you know, it's just that's an example of visual, although some things I am able to learn from books.
Right.
So, so yeah, there's even the same person can have different ways that they have to learn how to do the different things that they do. So I guess I'm both. I guess I'm a visual learner and somebody who can do it from books.
Yes.
So, so anyways, we're down to like about 9.5 minutes. What else should we talk about here?
Well, with the foster grandparent program, once you are assigned being grandma, say example, Grandma Gail, that is a title you will have for a lifetime. It doesn't just go through the school year. That title stays with you. I wrote a short article about my own observance. I was sitting in church and there was somebody who I knew was a foster grandma. And this little boy came over and says, "Oh, Grandma, da, da, da." You know, I did not hear the name, but was so happy to see her. I gave her a big hug. and was so gracious, and the mother was happy and everything, and they go sit down. So I was sitting there wondering, what this had happened. I said, "Oh, was that a family member?" And she goes, "No, my dear, that was somebody I had 5 years ago in school. I was their foster grandma."
Oh.
So it's like a legacy of love and understanding that always stays with that individual. And I think that is the miracle of the program for the foster grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And wherever...
Well, that's what I was wondering about.
Yes.
So you're not expecting them to call you Mr. or Mrs.
No, your grandma.
Somehow that seems too formal. I remember.
Yes.
I remember when my son was a little boy, I'd be out, running errands or something someplace, and
Right.
some of my son's little friends would come walking along, and they'd call me. They'd say hi to me and refer to me as Mrs. Zerb.
Yeah, that's right.
And it seems like
So formal.
I do have a first name.
I know, but that's how they're,
That's how
they're
kids-
taught to be respectful.
Yeah, yeah.
But in school, they all are grandma or grandpa, and there's even some who have some nicknames, Grandma Boom Boom
Grandma-
Connie or something.
Grandma Boom
Boom
Boom.
Connie or something. Yeah, you are beloved once you're placed in a school or a daycare center, or we have foster grandparents even at the teen program in Jamestown, the Teenage Education and Motherhood program, and they have made a big impact and help on that program.
Oh, good.
Yes, so it's very. We go where we're needed and try to creatively solve their problems and help those in need. So, are you ready to sign up?
Probably.
If you have a caring heart,
Yeah.
you are eligible to serve.
Well, I think that I do.
I'm sure you do. Currently, we are budgeted for 59 foster grandparents working 20 hours a week. And for retired senior volunteer program, our last report, we had 675 volunteers placed throughout Chautauqua County at almost 70 sites.
70.
70 sites.
In the three-
no, just in Chautauqua.
Just within
RSVP
Chautauqua.
is just in Chautauqua County. Foster grandparents, we have about 27 sites through the 3 counties. And I have to say it's a big job, but I like what I do.
Good, good.
Because I'm the one that does all the progress reports, and I see all the measurements, and I see how these good people have helped children. And on the RSVP side, I get to calculate how many individuals are now food secure. I don't like that word, but that is what we're measuring, to ensure that these people are more food secure, or they're enabled to stay within their homes because of the services provided.
Right, right.
So we're just hoping to make our little corner of New York State better.
Yeah, I remember my mother, after she had a stroke, I remember I thought we'd get Meals on Wheels for her. The only problem is she decided she didn't like the food or something like
okay.
that, So
Yes.
we did it through the winter and then sort of discontinued.
Right. Well,
But-
it's there for them when they need it.
Right, right.
Right.
So that meant that I did most of her cooking.
I was going to say,
Well,
well, she was fortunate she had family here.
right.
That is
right.
not the luxury of many.
Right, right.
I think at one point they estimated there's like 800 individuals who live isolated and alone within Chautauqua County.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody was just telling me, somebody that I was having a conversation with on the phone yesterday, that lives in Chautauqua County was telling me that her mother lives in Buffalo. And I'm thinking, she said either we'll be going to her house for Thanksgiving or she'll be coming here. And she's mentioning that her mother is like 91 years old. And it didn't occur to me to ask while we were on the phone, and later I got to wondering about it. Does this 91-year-old lady live alone?
Yes,
know?
yes.
But, you know, some people are really in very good
People are living
health.
longer.
Some people are in very good health and, you know, up in their 90s.
That's right.
And, you know, I remember some 100-year-old man being interviewed
Yes,
on television one time, and he was out playing golf all the time.
I know.
You know, I mean, he was that healthy, and he
I
said
know.
he still figured he still was going to be well enough to play golf for a couple
Right.
more years.
Well,
you know?
our program goes, I think 56 is the youngest, and they go, it's 90 for foster grandparents, and we have many.
You have many people in their 80s that are serving
Oh
as
yes,
foster
the average
grandparents?
age is 74.
Oh, is it? Huh.
For RSVP, because of the demographics and how we have to report it, there's a huge number, 85 years old and plus, that are still actively serving. So there's a lot of people in our county who are vibrant and still active and want to give back. So
Yeah, I've actually seen this, people anywhere in their 90s up to 100, even doing advanced yoga poses.
I know,
If they
know.
continue to do them
That's
from
right.
a young age and never stop, they don't lose.
That's right.
They don't lose their ability to do that.
yes, and we are blessed in Chautauqua County that we have so many services that are geared towards this population. So it's truly a good program.
Yes. Well, I hope it keeps on being that way.
Yes, we are in the budget for this year. We are happy and going forth and continue to help others.
Well, we have come to the end of another
Oh,
episode of Fresh Perspectives.
Well, good.
And I want to thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's been my
on.
pleasure.
And I hope seeing you on television inspires a lot of people to
I hope
sign
so.
up to be foster grandparents and the other programs that you
Right.
are talking about too.
Right.
So,
Yes. So if you want to be a foster grandparent, call 716-665-5354.
and talk to Debbie Basile.
Yes, for RSVP, you can call 716-665-3038.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's all for today. I'll see the rest of you in a couple of weeks.